It was attritional at times. Warrington were deserved winners, I would say, coming out on top 12 points to 10. Did you have the pleasure of watching it on TV from somewhere warm and dry?
Yeah, I watched it, and I would say Warrington's resilience was what made them deserved winners on this occasion, really, because everything else you were looking at kind of made you wonder when they weren't going to be winning the game anymore.
Yeah.
That's sort of the feeling you got. But it's a different Leeds animal, I suppose, and we're going to talk about it, because we're not going to make it an elephant in the room. The absence of the great legendary players like Sinfield and Peacock and leaders, basically, the two people who've been the leaders of the club for the last 10, 12 years, was obviously a sort of a background factor to the fact that this Leeds team couldn't get that last 10-minute roll on that you've seen before. I mean, it wasn't just those two, it was the in-game loss of Danny Maguire, the apparent destruction of Beep Beep's ability to beat Beep, and Rob Burrow lacking pace entirely now.
Well, that's it.
But there was a lot of things like that you saw in the game. At the crunch time, there was when Rob Burrow, I don't know if it came across on the live at the game, when that Rob Burrow was so annoyed with the young kids, but there was a play very close to the end of the game when something might have been on, they were in an attacking position, and Jordan Lilly threw the ball to Sutcliffe and not to Burrow, and it kind of, the play died a death.
Yes.
And Burrow was not happy with, I think it was a poor pass out of dummy half anyway, but Burrow was not happy with
the way the play had gone
on there. But
Rob Burrow needs to remember that he was once this young this young half coming up.
I think it's a positive sign that they're willing to take it on their own shoulders.
And should support them a little bit. But
not everyone can pull a play off every time. Rob Burrow probably wasn't going to do anything either.
And as I recall, Jordan Lilly was, he was heavily involved with Leeds', I want to say, with the Ryan Hall try, was it Jordan Lilly got the ball away to Joel Moon? So he was heavily involved with that. So, look, I
thought he had a great game.
I thought Jordan Lilly did very well. I was impressed with him. Yes, they did lack leadership. That's
played 60 minutes in the hooking position. Yeah. I mean, I know Liam Sutcliffe did the bulk of the defending, and God, he's bulked up, hasn't he?
Big kid, isn't he?
He looked a lot bigger than he looked last year.
Yeah. Definitely.
That's to Jordan Lilly as well. But I think Warrington just showed a greater level of mental toughness in the game.
Yeah, the packs were both very resilient. I think Leeds' pack is still going to be more than competitive with the vast majority of teams it comes up against, and there was a fag paper between the two of them, really, on the night. One of the things that separated the two sides, or the big thing that separated the two sides for me, was experience in the halves, as you alluded to. Once Maguire went, even before Maguire went, really, I would say that Gidley and Sandow were clicking much better than kind of the Leeds half combination was doing.
There was no impetus or connection, I would say, in the Leeds half-backs to sort of back up your point, whereas it seems to be there between these two experienced Warrington halves.
Yeah, absolutely. But and the kick that
Maguire wasn't playing well before he went off the pitch, if I'm totally honest, and Sutcliffe, whilst he's got bigger, seemed to have not had any. There was no magic in those Leeds players. That's my input on that.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think you're right. Conversely, Gidley and Sandow look very, very good. Gidley just looks every inch the experienced pro that you anticipated he would be, and Sandow looks to be, on the strength of that 80 minutes, a better proposition than he was at the back end of last season, when he was perhaps a bit out of shape and hadn't had the benefit of a full pre-season. He looks a bit thinner now, and his in-game kicking was superb. His kick to set up the Kevin Penny try was just phenomenal vision and a great kick, well dabbed on, and brilliant rugby league.
And obviously there was the try he scored himself, and then on top of that, the few bits of open play, breaks and that sort of thing that happened for Warrington were set up by Sandow. He was throwing the ball wide. Both teams were throwing the ball wide. I mean, for a low scoring game, there was a lot of ball movement, especially in the first half. It just didn't come to anything because of great goal line defence, particularly from from Warrington.
Yeah, I don't recall there being an abnormally high amount of errors. There were more considering the conditions, but it wasn't like an error fest from the game I was watching.
It wasn't like Wigan.
Yeah, exactly. So it was credit to both. It was an entertaining game to watch. It was not one of the great all-time classics, but it was a good way to spend a Thursday night.
It was a really enjoyable game, and I think that's been reflected. Whilst everyone likes to hate Thursday nights, there was over 16,000 people there. It was a good crowd, and we got an absolute shed load of views from you lot, which is great. So we'll get through some of those after just running through the stats.
Yes, tell us about the game then.
So Warrington won the game despite having to make 126 more tackles and enjoying much less possession, making 230 less metres. Or fewer meters. It was made more remarkable by making 6 more errors and conceding 10 penalties to 5. So everything there suggests Leeds win, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But they were able to be more efficient in their work through a 1.3 metre better average gain and a 2% better tackle success over the course. And then obviously the 100% goal kicking success compared to Leeds' 33% was a big factor, a factor that was dwelt on a lot in the TV coverage and in the fan conversations around the game. One thing I would say is welcome to how the rest of us have to live, Leeds. And the other thing I would say is I was expecting Sutcliffe to be the goal kicker. Now, Sutcliffe picked up a bit of a knock before any points were scored. I don't know if Zach Cardick was always going to be the goal kicker. He certainly didn't look like he'd been practising a lot.
No, he wasn't.
His form was all over the place when he kicked a couple of those, especially the one, the penalty that brought the most of the attention on his goal kicking.
Yeah, it wasn't his finest hour, I wouldn't have said. But we did get an absolute shed load of feedback from people on this. So this is something that may have to chop and share a little bit, Mark.
Yeah.
There's a lot here.
Oh, tons.
I'll start. Pages. Yeah, I'll start and you jump in when you're ready. Okay, Paul O'Brien, 1976. He got in touch with us over Twitter. He said it's a great start to the season and a great game. Mistakes from both teams and a few from the officials. #may it continue. #Super League 2016. Cutthroat Jake.
I think we'll wait to talk about the officials when they come up through the things, but just to sort of touch on, I thought James Child had a fairly decent game. He tried to make decisions for himself and tried to let the game flow, not giving too many penalties away, and what wasn't early season conditions when he could have pinged a lot more penalties both ways and things like that. He's not going to be perfect, but none of the players were. I think he had a decent game.
I did as well. I think he judged the situation well. I think if he'd got on his whistle, in the conditions that we had, it would have been a horrible game. It would have been really, really bad, and it would have got niggly, and he allowed it to flow as much as he could do. So I didn't really have a problem with his performance, to be honest with you. Cutthroat Jake, what a game. We were a bit unlucky with injuries, but if Wolves can continue playing like that, they'll reach the grand final. Early days, steady on. Paul Campbell got in touch. I'd say a fair result in the end. Well done, Wire. Brian Davies, great start to Super League. Wire looked to have some halves and desire to defend. Sandow is like a different player. #no fat boy. #Super League Leeds Warrington. Andy Barden, the Electric Gigolo, great supporting role from that Gidley played, made Sandow shine. Wolves looked good defensively compared to last year. Dan Fowler got in touch. What a talent Ben Curry is. Yeah, that is true. But I want to see him played in the second row, not in the centres.
I think that was more a case of
needs must.
Atkins and Rashford were both injured.
Oh yeah. I'm not saying it's a bad decision. I understand why he was there, but I like him as a second rower more. Dan goes on to say, Wire look a more well-rounded outfit and definitely solid in defence. Maguire was missed by Leeds. Darren Garner, the Irish Wolfhound himself, got in touch and said Bullabus, Leeds and Warrington. That's the way
What's Bullabus
I think this means well done. Don't we? We ask him this every year. It's some Gaelic thing that it's an affectation he's picked up. He's from Warrington. Not Wexford. That's the way it started the season. Question, is Curry a faster version of Sam Burgess? Watch this space, take a bow Leeds. Moon was top draw along with Hall and Ferris. Along with Hall and Ferris was everywhere, apart from on Hubie's wife for once. Very good.
So
go on.
He calls himself King Dingaling now.
Right.
I think I'm going to start calling him Captain Hyperbole.
Okay.
Because It gets carried away.
He's like the Steve-O of our feedback, isn't
we enjoy it, definitely.
Absolutely.
But there's an element of being carried away there. Ben Curry is an exciting prospect. I would not be comparing him to Sam Burgess. I would be comparing him to Ben Curry.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Where are we up to? Okay, that Rivet got in touch with us. Ben Curry was his man of the match. Thought it was obvious, to be honest, but Gidley was good as well. And an added bonus, I had Wire in the Super Brew. Yeah, I haven't done so well in Super Brew.
No, we'll not mention that.
I don't think there was any illegitimate picks. Anyway, but the draw didn't help me out, to be fair. Okay, Elliot Wrench, defence was...
Tom, you got the wooden spoon.
No, was I on the wooden spoon? No, it was... It was
a 5-way tie for the wooden spoon. You were one of the people.
Okay, yeah, but the draw didn't...
I was only just above you.
The draw would have got me out of it. Anyway, we'll get back to that. Elliot Wrench, defence was looking good. Very good result there. Julien did well. And young Jordan Lilly for Leeds was superb. Diane LBW got in touch. She said she really enjoyed the opening game of the season. Great win for Warrington. Enjoyable Open Rugby League. A treat to watch. No idea why Gidley got man of the match, because it suits Guy's agenda, I would suggest, Diane. She'd have given it to Sandow, Curry or Evans. Yeah, that's a good point. Reece Evans had a very good game as well. And
defensively, he was very strong. He didn't offer anything going up the other end of the pitch.
He was amongst it defensively.
Curry offered a little bit more both ways. I mean, he was the person who tracked down Rob Burrow for a try saver, and he was involved in the build up for the try that ultimately was the winning try, I suppose. He made a break up the field, didn't he?
What, for the winning try? Kevin Penny got the winning try.
No, Kevin Penny got the winning try. Didn't he make the ground up, or was that?
Oh, yeah.
Well, anyway, he made about 60 metres on a break.
He did.
He was the only person who did that all night.
Okay, and yet she goes on to say that Sandow's crossfield kick was genius. Paul Clark got in touch. Thought fitness was superb from both teams for the first game of the season. Colin Render, who is a Leeds fan, disappointed with the loss, but will take plenty of positives from it. Lily looked good, the pack looked strong. Credit to Wire's defence, as they had plenty of pressure on their line at times. This Warrington team is stronger than last year. Hope that Danny Maguire's injury isn't too bad, as his experience is vital to our team. Finally, why didn't Sinfield get man of the match? He was mentioned the most tonight. Must have had a huge influence on the game. I thought Ben Curry should have won it. Best defender on the night. Gidley didn't have a chance to do much in attack. Fair enough. Do you want to take over?
Yeah, Dom Hodgson at The Hodge said, I think I need to watch the Sky coverage before I can give a full opinion on that game, but my current frame of mind is OFFS. Sam Rowler, she said, I'll take any sort of win at Headingley. Defence brilliant throughout. Sando showed his class tonight. Solid debuts from Gidley and Cox. Yeah, Cox and Julien both came off the bench and did really solid jobs, definitely. Yeah. Hoping Reece Evans can stay fit all season. Quality player on his day. Made up with the win. Ian Saguna at MySaguna85 said, WTF, Sandow sets up winning try and Gidley converts winning goal for Warrington to beat Leeds. Am I dreaming? #fucking mental RL. Paul Michael Craig said, how did Gidley get man of the match? Sandow scores and sets one up. Paul Ludo Lewis says, how the fuck did... Lots of fucks in these, isn't there? How the fuck did Eddie and Steve still manage to make that game all about Sir Kev? Regarding Wire, it's never their year. Scott Lister on Facebook said to us, think it was a good game to start the season. I think we managed to get the game pretty well. I think we managed the game pretty well with the loss of Maguire and Sutcliffe being on one leg for the major part of the game. I'd like to see a better rotation of our subs. I actually think the subs we used probably better than they were traditionally under McDermott.
Yeah, he used all of them, yeah.
Richard Wilkinson, he said, good opening tussle to start the season. Leeds had Wire on the ropes a good few times, but fair play to them for the win. One questionable try and one outstanding try for Wire. Thought Leeds looked good despite the loss of Maguire and were unlucky not to get the win. Thought Lily stood up really well, a bit gutted but optimistic. Let's see if I feel the same way when Maguire's prognosis comes through. 6 to 8 weeks, is it? Or 2 to 3 months, 8 to 10 weeks, I think.
Right.
Is the issue there. Then he says, good old South Stander, one narrow loss and the daggers are out. For one of our own, I think whoever will be the long-term kicker needs at least 3 seasons to become Sinfield level, maybe longer. How's about for once we can not hammer said player until the cows come home? I hope to Christ this isn't a theme that goes on and on. Zach's not Kev. Zach, for whatever reason, has been given the job by Mac. Deal with it. Shut the fuck up. He's going to miss a ton more before we see a marked improvement. Yeah, you're going to have to deal with it, guys. You've had the privilege of having a 90% goal kicker for the last 12 years or whatever he's been like at that level. He wasn't always at that level, but he was when he went. And the rest of us have had to do the same. We went from Pat Richards to Matty Smith missing from right in front of the fucking sticks. Bradford went